When the Colts drafted Jonathan Taylor, I'd probably have to go back to my Instagram and find it where I exploded with joy because I said I thought Jonathan Taylor was the best running back I'd seen since Ezekiel Elliott. And Chris Ballard, I told before the draft, I had a conversation. I said, you know who I love? I said, you guys could use one more running back. I love Jonathan Taylor. And Chris Ballard didn't give me any information, but I was like, man, I'd love to see you guys draft him. Well, they did. And Jonathan Taylor, great running back for the Colts, is joining us live. Pro Bowler this year. There he is. There's the star running back, the pride of the Wisconsin Badgers. It's interesting. We talk about this all the time, Jonathan. In the NFL, you as a high school player could choose where you want to go, right? You chose Wisconsin. But as an NFL player, you get drafted. I really think, this sounds weird, but by going in the second round, you end up on a better team instead of if you've gone high first round and you get this Colts offensive line. And I know you want to go in the first round, and I thought you were a first-round player. You don't get quite as much money. But in the end, it feels like you landed in the perfect organization. Does it feel like that for you?
How you doing, Colin? I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. I felt like I landed in the perfect situation. Just not only the guys up front, but the entire locker room, the kind of leadership and the camaraderie that locker room holds from top to bottom. I mean, it's second to none. I feel like I couldn't have landed in a more perfect spot.
You've always been a really focused guy. Not that you couldn't have handled a big market, but, Indianapolis is interesting because Joey and I had said during the year, it feels like a playoff team. And then there was a bit of a meltdown in the last couple of weeks. And none of us could explain it. When you were living in it, was it surreal that you obviously have the personnel and there was a meltdown, Jacksonville? What was it like to go through?
That definitely hurt, and it stung. One of the biggest things that, was talked about after was, this upcoming year, come April, come camp, come the season, whatever it takes. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to put aside in order to be selfless, in order to put the team first, to get to where we want to go this year, this next year upcoming? And it was just a tough one because no one wants to go through that experience. Like you mentioned, we knew the guys we had in that locker room that we were able to go out there and win games in the playoffs. And, we just had to take advantage of that opportunity. So this upcoming season, it's definitely whatever it takes to get the job done.
I'm not a huge fan of Hard Knocks. I wouldn't want cameras all over my house or at my work. You guys were the kind of experiment for a mid-season Hard Knocks. Again, not a huge fan of it, although I think it did show me a lot about the leadership. You could tell the team has leadership. Is it a distraction to have those cameras everywhere?
I will say they did a great job of making sure that things were kind of normal, or at least seemed normal. So there were cameras in meeting rooms, cameras on the field, kind of off to the side. Unless you were really doing a one-on-one kind of interview or specifically being followed, they really made it seem like it was normal. Now, of course, you realize, okay, the cameras in the meeting room, there are cameras in certain places, but I definitely do think it was a lot less than I expected as far as camera invasive. But like you mentioned, I usually see Hard Knocks during camp. So having it during the season, it was definitely different, going through your day-to-day routine, having it filmed.
Jonathan, you leave college football and suddenly players now get paid. And you're probably thinking to yourself, man, I got hit a lot and I didn't get anything at Wisconsin. And now you have the NIL. What do you make? It's kind of fascinating. The transfer portal, the name, image, likeness. Are you a fan of it? There's no real guardrails yet. What do you make? The minute you leave college football, all these things people have been fighting for happened. What do you make of what you see's happened to the sport?
I'll definitely say I am happy for it. All of these years, way before even I was in school, that was the talk. Players should, get paid. Players should be able to, go to another program. That's what people were fighting for. Now, I think it's a matter of fact of just making sure the guidelines, the regulations, protection for the players are set in place in order to make sure that, players aren't getting taken advantage of, that things are being done the right way. So this is definitely the direction that people have been wanting to go for a long time. Now it's just a matter of fact of making sure we're able to do it safely and being able to protect the players.
By the way, Jonathan, a running back, the NFL has done a really good job, in my opinion, to make the league safer. Not as many practices, no two-a-days. But you play a very rare offensive position. You're the last guy anybody can hit anywhere, anytime. Can't hit quarterbacks, can't hit receivers over the top. You can hit a running back, and you don't know where the hits are coming from. What do you do in the offseason or during the season? Take me into your routine to extend your season, to elevate your body, to get, when you wake up Monday, you're sore. I've talked to running backs. Monday and Tuesday, you're crawling out of bed. How are you going to extend your career?
So number one, the biggest thing is being able to build that body armor up throughout the offseason. That should be your number one priority. Before you even start touching the field, trying to hit cuts and do football drills, you need to build your body armor up. And that's number one because, like you mentioned, we're the last person that can get hit anytime, any place on the field. So build that body armor up. Then once you get in season, especially at the beginning of the season, you want to be able to maintain that body armor as much as possible. Of course, as you know, your body breaks down over the course of a season, so you may not be able to lift as much weights as you would be able to in the beginning of the season. But in the beginning, make sure you're definitely getting at least 2 lifts in a week, at least, to maintain that body armor because it's going to decrease throughout the course of the season.
You came into the league, same draft as Joe Burrow. I think you guys played the Bengals last year, if I recall. What do you make of his ascension to the Super Bowl? What do you make of it?
Man, he's just a winner. And you look at his career in college and how he went about, his business, you could tell he was a winner. He was confident in his abilities, but he boosted everyone else's confidence around him. And that's what you want out of a quarterback. You want a quarterback to be able to elevate your team, to bring the best out of your teammates. And I think that's something that he's been able to do once he got into the league, which has been amazing. And I'm happy for him. And it's exciting to see, and it's exciting to watch, and it pushes you to work harder to get to that position as well.
Well, joining us now, behalf of FedEx Air and Ground NFL Player of the Year Award, you can go right now, cast your ballot for our guy Jonathan Taylor, NFL.com/FedEx, via the NFL's handle on Twitter or on the NFL mobile app. An absolute pleasure. You led the NFL in most rushing attempts. And do you stay in Indianapolis? Where do you go in the offseason?
So I like to spend time in Scottsdale. I like to spend time in Fort Lauderdale. And then occasionally head back to Indianapolis, kind of just to reset, go to the facility. But those are the 2 places that I really like to spend that time building that body armor up, getting the body prepared and ready to go for a long season.
Yeah, warm places, by the way, Fort Lauderdale and Scottsdale. I don't blame it. Jonathan, what a pleasure. You're a great player, eclipsed any expectations most people had. Love having you on the show, my man. Always root for you. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, just quality dude. I say this all the time. The NFL is so lucky. Their star players are such good, I'll say it, kids. He is just rock solid. Couldn't get better. Colts there's your foundation of your franchise right there. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.